Real men kill themselves with bullets or booze or heroin, with a noose. Even if they don't knot the rope themselves, then they'll just get tangled by a hangman, strangled, dangled, perpendicular to the platform, a 90-degree angle. Neck stretched, mangled, when the rigor mortis sets, left dead on the courthouse steps, a message to all other men. Look at him. He knew what masculinity meant. Don't forget, life is about pain and hardship and regret. Life is refinement for the next life, which you may or may not get. You're in the finals, so slit your wrists and you'll be a champion. Real men cut off their own dick and they eat it. It's the healthiest piece of meat, according to the Liver King. He says real men consume it raw with no seasoning. He says all you need are balls anyway. And Joe Rogan agrees, nods his head and says, you gotta love free speech. Then he thanks his guest and he leaves and he heads back to his freezer where he hangs like a bovine rib cage in Rocky until the next UFC bell dings. Real men rape and pillage. Like Vikings, like some barbaric tribe we should all be idolizing. And real men aren't good fathers if their children aren't crying, aren't hiding when they know father will soon be arriving. And a wife isn't a want, it's a need. A woman doesn't just date a real man, no, it's a job for which she's applying. She should arrive prompt and on time with a resume in hand and should be visually satisfying. And she should be grateful for the opportunity to possibly be chosen to carry his seed. Being a mother to his offspring will be so rewarding. And when he stays out late and drinks, she shouldn't expect a warning. What did she think marriage would be if not waking at 4 a.m. when he finally decides it's time to go to sleep? And little does she know he's also brought home a mean case of herpes, if not even a worse disease. Oh, to be infected by him would be a real gift, because real men aren't real men if they're not hurting and breaking and destroying everything. So if you want to be a real man, then go throw yourself into the center of a deep, deep lake. And if you live, that would be the perfect moment to do it again and again until you succeed. Real men shouldn't even breathe, because only a queer would let their chest heave. When a real man stubs his toe, he shouldn't get mad at his own feet. No, there should never be anything in a real man's way when he's walking. Real men win every game they play, even if they have to cheat. And it's not real pain anybody else is feeling, because transcendence over discomfort is God's way. And if you aren't godly enough to ignore the fact you're bleeding, then God has never even heard your name. And when a real man pictures God, he sees John Wayne, but instead of a 6-shooter on his hip, God has an AK. But not because he's afraid, quite the contrary. He keeps an arsenal of hand grenades as a demonstration of his deep and abiding faith. No demon can hurt him, but just in case. Real men pray, not for love or grace, not for self-control, patience, peace, or gentleness. Are you kidding me? That stuff is gay. No, real men pray for strength, for muscles, for grit, for the gift to intimidate, for a cleft in their chins, for jaws that can cut straight lines in granite, for the ability to tame a rattlesnake, to be the wildest animal to enter every space. Real men, are you listening? Being alive should cause you shame. Heart beating like a lady, stomach growling like a baby. Today is the day to do the toughest thing, because you're not a real man if you don't lie down on the tracks in front of a fast-moving train. But before you do, let me remind you, before real men leave this plane, they do that TikTok trend initiated by Jordan Peterson, where before they die, they dig their own grave. Imagine the hassle the rest of us would save. But even that consideration won't happen, because empathy, it's what's missing in a real man's brain. I just hope I can harness enough self-hate to be a real man someday. Thank you.